Derrick Harmon is the Pittsburgh Steelers selection with the 21st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Welcome into the Bleav in Steelers live reaction to the 2025 Draft. My name is Mark Bergin, providing my instant analysis, reaction, breakdown to Derrick Harmon, the new Pittsburgh Steeler. Let me start with where the Steelers are at the quarterback position, and I'll get into Harmon. After night one of the draft, the Steelers still have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson as their quarterbacks. And perhaps Aaron Rodgers could still sign. I know Shedeur Sanders did not get picked in the first round. I don't expect the Steelers to trade back into the second round. Pittsburgh picks again at pick number 83 in the third round. Remember, the Steelers do not have a second round pick as it stands right now, because they traded that pick away in the deal to acquire wide receiver DK Metcalf. So I really don't know what the Steelers are doing. They'll need to select a quarterback here, presumably either day 2 or day 3. Again, you've got the 83rd pick, and then your next pick is a 4th round pick on Saturday. That will be the 123rd pick. Steelers also have a 5th round pick at 156. Barring trades, that's where the Steelers stand at this moment in time when it comes to their draft selections. But Jackson Dart picked over Shedeur Sanders, I will get into. But let's talk about Derrick Harmon, the newest Pittsburgh Steelers. 6'4.5", about 315, 320. The Steelers in the playoffs got smoked by their arch rival Baltimore Ravens, when the Ravens ran the ball for 6 yards a carry in that game. Over and over and over and over and over again. And that's why, if you want to get the best out of the twilight years of Cam Hayward in his mid-30s, TJ Watt entering the final year of his contract in his prime, Minkah Fitzpatrick should be playing his best football at this point. If you want to get the best out of those players, and you want to have a premium defense, A gap, B gaps where it's got to start. And that's why you draft Derrick Harmon. Same build that Cam Hayward has, 6'4.5", almost 6'5", good size, good technique. Not crazy, twitchy players, but stout when it comes to stopping the running game. And it's something that the Steelers desperately needed. I'm trying to pull up the box score here on my end of what the Steelers did in the playoffs. 50 rushes by the Ravens, 299 yards. And remember, the Ravens had one drive where they ran the ball 13 times in a row, and there wasn't anything that the Steelers could do to stop it. And the Steelers are getting a player in Derrick Harmon who led defensive tackles last season with 49 pressures. The next best had 10 fewer. He had 10 more pressures than the next best player among defensive tackles in college football. That's incredible. So Derrick Harmon, Cam Hayward, and Keanu Benton up front for the Pittsburgh Steelers in that 3-4. Wow. And it provides some depth and some insurance, because Cam Hayward, who was a Pro Bowl, not just a Pro Bowl player, an all-pro player for the Pittsburgh Steelers a year ago, now finally has some depth. To me, the Steelers are taking a page out of what Andy Weidl helped build with the Philadelphia Eagles in how they became Super Bowl champions. And that's getting studs along your offensive and defensive lines. Steelers have done it in the last 2 drafts. Troy Fautanu will be coming off a season-ending knee injury, should be your starting right tackle. Broderick Jones is moving over to the left tackle position, entering year 3. So you've gone back-to-back drafts with offensive tackle. The Steelers get a defensive tackle in Derrick Harmon. Now, Harmon, there were some concerns about a shoulder injury. He only ran the 40 between the combine and his pro days, didn't do any of the bench press, or missed out on a lot of the other drills, but he didn't miss a game in his final 3 years of college football. I think he'll be okay. And it's a pick that we mentioned Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward's really excited about as well. Made a joke on Twitter tonight saying that, look, these college athletes have NIL money. The rookie dinner should be pretty fun. But we've been talking about how the Steelers have been playing with fire, continuing to overly rely on Cam Hayward, not for Cam Hayward's ability, but for the fact that Cam Hayward is at an advanced age. And he was at an all-pro level coming off that groin from the year before. How much longer you can expect premium level production from Cam Hayward? It's not a knock on Cam Hayward, but it's given his age and his durability in the wear and tear that he's had in the league. The Steelers get some more depth with that now too. Hayward, Benton, and Derrick Harmon up front is something that excites me if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And it helps figure out, okay, if you're going to double and triple team TJ Watt off the edge, someone else has got to eat. Highsmith, Herbig, Benton, Hayward, and now Derrick Harmon. That excites me if I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Now, I know you might have wanted Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders falls out of the first round. I was shocked that Jackson Dart got picked over Shedeur Sanders, but the team that did it in the New York Giants did it for the fact that there's a lot of connections between the Giants and Ole Miss. And there's a lot of connections there. I don't have all the specifics in front of me, but I Bleav it's like Joe Judge and Charlie Weiss Jr., and there are people affiliated with the Giants organization that are either part of the Ole Miss program or part of the Ole Miss coaching staff. Ryan Daboll as well has connections with Jackson Dart and Ole Miss. So if there was a team that was going to draft Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders, the Giants were the team that were going to do it, and they trade back in at 25 to do it. Now, Shedeur Sanders is going to be, all eyes are on him entering day 2 of the draft. I don't think he'll last very long on day 2. Cleveland still could use a quarterback. Cleveland, by the way, trading away the second pick, I think Travis Hunter's going to be a fine prospect. I don't fault Jacksonville for trading away a haul, but Cleveland got a lot back. I like what Cleveland did in that trade. You might think that I'm crazy, but I think Cleveland got a haul back for the 5th pick, a first rounder next year, was a second rounder this year, and I think a 4th rounder as well. I like that move for the Browns, who I don't expect to be competitive this coming season, but Mason Graham out of Michigan up front, freeing up Myles Garrett off the edge. I thought Cleveland got better tonight. The Ravens with Malachi, the safety, as well. I really, really liked him as well. Malachi Starks. Every year the Ravens get someone that falls to them. It's like, wait a second. How did this player fall to Baltimore? Happened yet again tonight with Malachi Starks. Didn't like the Bengals pick. We don't need to get into that, but that's kind of how I saw the division. I like what the Ravens and the Browns did. I like what the Steelers did with Harmon. But the Steelers, too, the big question mark remains, what's the plan at quarterback? And at this point in time, I think you draft someone likely on day 3. I don't know if the quarterback that they'll want is going to be there in the 3rd round. I don't think that the Steelers will trade back up. And I'm operating under the assumption that if Aaron Rodgers plays, and I know he's mulling retirement, is he in or is he not? I still think that Rodgers winds up playing for the Steelers at this point in time. Just think the competitor in him, and he realizes he doesn't have any other options. And if he wants to play, there's still a spot in Pittsburgh right now. But that still remains a huge question mark even after tonight. And even despite the fact that I do like the pick for Derrick Harmon. And if the Steelers didn't feel that Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart was that player at number 21, fine. It's a much better quarterback class in 2026 when, by the way, the draft will be in Pittsburgh as well. So it'll be a great backdrop if the Steelers want to go get the heir to Big Ben next offseason. And in Mason Rudolph, we trust. Mason guide the Steelers slay at this point in time, for better or for worse. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback even at 41 than Mason Rudolph is. But the question is, for what price? And I know that Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show saying money's not important. I'll play for $10 million. I'm wary of that. I don't know if I Bleav that. Because the last time Aaron Rodgers made fewer than $10 million in a season, you got to go back to 2012. But here's the thing that might be the most important in skipping out on Shedeur Sanders for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers need to get back to having an offensive identity. And what I mean by that, the Steelers have not had a first-team All-Pro player since 2017. You've got to go back to the 2017 season when you had David DeCastro at guard position, you had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. First-team All-Pro players. The next year, Marquise Pouncey was a second-team All-Pro. So it's been since 2018 since you've had an All-Pro on offense if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, first or second team. You got to go back to 2017 since you had a first-team All-Pro on offense. Getting back to an offensive identity is having an All-Pro player, a player that would start for any other offense in the NFL. Steelers get a very good player in DK Metcalf. Hopefully George Pickens can ball out in the final year of his contract. I know there have been some trade rumors about Pickens. I expect that duo to be in place. But what is your offensive identity for whoever the next quarterback is, whether it's someone they get on day 2 or day 3, next offseason, if it is Rodgers, it's getting back that offensive identity that has been lacking for years now in Pittsburgh. You bolster the defense yet again. You keep that on track because the quickest way for the Steelers' highest paid defense in the NFL to fall apart is attacking them A gap, B gap. You help shore that up with the selection of Derrick Harmon tonight. But there is still a massive question mark at the quarterback position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether it's Rodgers or someone you draft, maybe that's not the long-term answer, and maybe that's okay. That guy probably wasn't there and available for the Steelers this offseason, even if you would have brought back Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. But you got to get some depth, and you've got to get a better quarterback room than you've got right now in Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, because you're talking about perhaps the weakest quarterback room in all of the NFL. And you've got some decent parts around them. But in terms of actually winning a Super Bowl and the quarterback talent that you see across the AFC, that's where the Steelers are lacking. And whether they had drafted Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart tonight, I still don't think you were solving that problem, even if you were bringing them in. And that's why every other team in the NFL passed up on Shedeur Sanders tonight. It's a big part of it. And it's also the shadow that looms over and the fact that Deion Sanders could leave Colorado and try his hand as a head coach in the NFL, coaching his son. And that might not really impact the Pittsburgh Steelers with Mike Tomlin's stability within the Steelers organization. But at number 21, the Steelers said, hey, no thanks. We'll take Derrick Harmon out of Oregon instead. It's very telling. Cannot wait to see what happens day 2 of the draft. Again, the Steelers pick in the 3rd round, no second-round pick, unless there's a trade. So keep an eye on that. I don't expect the Steelers to trade back into the 2nd round. But we'll see what happens. That's what makes this fun. My name is Mark Bergin. This has been the live reaction to the 2025 NFL Draft. Steelers have a new stud defensive tackle, Derrick Harmon, out of Oregon. Cannot wait to see him in the black and gold. If you enjoyed listening to this, hit that subscribe button on my YouTube page. You can also financially support Bleav in Steelers. You can hit that super like button and financially contribute. If you enjoyed listening to this, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And share this show on Apple and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review here on Bleav in Steelers. I'll have more draft reaction in the coming days. And on Monday, we've got Arthur Moats lined up to get his reaction to the Steelers picks after the conclusion of the draft. So a lot of great insight and analysis here ahead on Bleav in Steelers. Hope all of you have great rest of your nights, great weekends as well. Derrick Harmon is the newest member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll see you next time. Take care. So long, everybody.